Hey, welcome back to Engineers Workshop. Today is January 2nd, 2023. First video of 2023 and also 312th day of Putin's war on Ukraine. So I had about 3 weeks off during the holidays and had time to visit family, unwind a bit. Didn't do a whole lot in the shop, did a little bit of cleaning up here and there, and had a little bit of, I don't even want to call it an incident, but I'll show you what's going on over at the far side of the building. So got the Acroturn lathe warming up in the background. I have not run really anything in the last few weeks, and the temperature's been up and down. We've had a lot of condensation. The heaters, you know, the heat bulbs on the various pieces of equipment, and I got a 500 watt heater fan under the granite inspection table. So that's kept the condensation on those machines to an absolute minimum. Really no issues there at all. But let me grab you a handheld and show you what happened while we were gone visiting family over at the far end of the shop. And then what we're going to do is probably going to get into finishing up the adapter bushing for the 3-jaw, 4-jaw chuck and the back plate. I got a real light finishing cut I want to make on the tub adapter, so that thing can be polished up and lacquered, and then we'll put that in place, and we'll just keep on trucking with different projects for 2023. So while we were up visiting family over the holidays, came back and all my panels that I had taken off the door were stacked neatly right here. And where'd they go? Well, there's one there, and there's the rest of them. So they got blown around when we had some high winds. We had, actually it was pretty soon after we left for going up visiting the family. Nothing's damaged, they were just tossed around a bit, even though they were stacked tightly together. So rather than pick these things up and, you know, just put them in another pile, even inside, what we decided to do was to go ahead and install them on this particular opening here, which is just a hair over 12 feet. And I don't have a girt, but we just took some scrap 2x8s and made a temporary girt. It's at the correct height. The tabs were in place already. And so that gives us something to attach to top, medium, and then at the bottom, it's going to be a 2x4 on edge. I'm going to use a treated 2x4, and I've got the floor anchors on order from Send Cut Send to go ahead and put those in place. And then we will tack those panels in place, covering up this entire third of the end of the building. Later, when I order the rest of the structural steel to make the roll-up door enclosures, I'll include this girt, and then we'll just pull the screws out of the panels, put the girt in place, and re-screw this. So let's go ahead and anchor this temporary girt in place now. 2x8s are not exactly the same depth as the framing piece. You know, the framing on the building is exactly pretty much 8 inches. And of course, you know, the framing lumber is 7 1/4. So we're just flushing this up on the outside. You can see something built a nest up there inside the two C's. So I'm going to have to dig all that out, of course. Trying to creep up on a diameter that will just go on this back plate. That's the kind of fit we're looking for. This is at about 3 1/4 inches, and we have to come down to 3 inches 100 thousandths. So 160 thousandths has to come off of this. About 230. 3 inches, 230. Let's go a little heavier cut. I hear some hard spots. About 35 thousandths oversized right now. Should be just a few thousandths over now. About 10 thousandths over. 5 over. That's real close to where it's a couple tenths big. I'm going to just polish that up a little bit with some emery paper. That appears to have done the trick. That's the exact same measurement of the pilot on the old backplate. So now all we have to do is, I think I'm going to tick the corner of that before I take this tool off, and then we'll part this off at the correct height. This is not the way that this loads into the backplate, but I do want to put a little reverse chamfer on here so I don't pull shavings if I ever have to pull it back out. Just about 40 or 60 thousandths will do it. The new bushing is going to bottom out in this recess, and I don't want the shoulder to be projecting above this face. So that's 564. So we're going to set up the depth at about 15 thousandths less, so we'll go 550. For grins, I'm going to check my run out of the two surfaces. Couple tenths, both surfaces. I'll live with that. And I think that is way below center. I had never set up the height of this tool. I was running a good 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch below center. I don't know if it's going to be much better on center, but we'll see. Let's get a little coolant on it. parting blade keeps getting shorter and shorter. I can go regrind the tip of this. I have a nice chunk of mystery steel for the next part. Okay, one last thing I want to do. I want to very lightly grab this, face it, and chamfer the ID and OD just to make it friendly to the fingers. Okay, I'm over here at the heat treating station, which is our oven. The only reason I can do this is because my wife is at work and she won't know about it. So these do not go together. There's about a 1/2 thousandths interference. It's very close. Probably could be tapped together or pressed together easily. But we're going to put this into the 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. Put this into the freezer for about 20 minutes. And hopefully it's not enough temperature to make much smoke. Okay, I'm hoping a temperature difference of about 400 degrees will work its magic. Look at that. I love shrink fits. Well, I have my system here based around the original D14 backplate from the 3-jaw chuck. 3-jaw chuck pilots on this diameter here, and it bolts in at the 3 perimeter screws. They're not counterbored. I may go back and counterbore those at some point in the future. And from the trued up bore that I did here, I made the new insert bushing, which is a shrink fit in the 4-jaw chuck, and this protrudes into that bore, bolts on those four locations there. These 4 tapped holes I added in a previous video. So either of these chucks will go on and off of this back plate, and I'm good to go. So I think the first project I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use the 4-jaw, and I'm going to put in the tub adapter, and I'm going to take the lightest of cuts on the OD to get rid of these vertical striations that were left by the milling operation. Got just enough material there to indicate, and I'll have to get this sitting on top of a spacer, but I want to just take the lightest OD cuts on that and then repolish it. That should give me a better surface. So let's go over to the lathe and take off what we have there. The big 4-jaw chuck, I've never had a part. This was a case of, wire brush it, oil it, and put it into service. And so I'd like to fully disassemble this and then, have that ready for when I do need to work on bigger items. So let's take that off and mount the new backplate. Oh boy, this one's heavy. Last time I had this on, everything was pretty repeatable with it. The best that I can do indicating this in is about 5 thousandths TIR. The outside surface is a little bit wonky due to the striations, so I am just going to take the lightest of cuts to clean this up. And I've got about an 1/8 inch, a little bit more than an 1/8 inch before I run into my chuck, so I'm good there. I'm going to start out at this end to make sure I don't have a high spot down close. Just a couple thousandths at a time. Of course, it's an interrupted cut, all except for that last little bit. Just checking progress. I've got a tiny area here that didn't clean up, so we'll just do another couple thousandths and call it done. Yeah, did it. Nice consistent surface. Let me zoom you in there. Well, for my next experiment, I'm going to put the 3-jaw chuck back on. And I'm going to take this piece of mystery steel. This is a 7-inch hot rolled round. I'm pretty sure it's, you know, a 36. I'm also pretty sure it's a low background steel. You can look that one up. Most assuredly pre-World War II. My dad had this, and it's possible that his dad even had it. Just been kind of used as a bench anvil to pound things against. But this face and the sides are relatively square, so I'm going to chuck it up here on the OD, face it, and clean the sides off. Just see what it looks like inside. And then we'll have a nice clean looking piece of steel hanging around instead of this beat up old one. So let's swap out the 4-jaw for the 3-jaw vise. Having that raised shoulder in here gives me a nice generous area to lever against to unseat this vise. Well, that's not going to fly. Actually, quite possible that is going to fly, so we've got to put the bigger chuck on, because that is just too much overhang for this. Can definitely tell by the way this thing is running that it's got maybe an 1/8 inch or more of run out on that face. Real high spot. So let's see. $30,000ths on the next cut. Actually, I'm going to try 40,000ths. That's a hefty cut for this little lathe anyway. We've got almost a full cleanup. Let's do another 40. And let's see if that takes care of it. It's not liking that. Let's try 30. That's a pretty amazing finish. Now, I'm real anxious to see what the cut on the OD does. Okay, this is a 20 thousandths depth of cut. 40 thousandths total on the diameter. That was almost a full cleanup. Just a little bit here that didn't. Another pass, maybe 20 thousandths will do it. I posted my progress on Instagram, and a couple of people commented that this material was cutting more like 1045 than 836. So looked up some recommendations. I put in a new insert. This is actually a better quality insert than what came with the original tool. These are German. I increased the feed from 5 thousandths to 8 thousandths. So let's stick with about, I'm gonna take just a little bit lighter cut. I don't want to reduce the diameter of this too much. So maybe 10 thousandths actual depth of cut. And let's see if we can brighten up this finish a bit. So this will be an actual 15 thousandths depth of cut. The smoke is from the WD-40 I coated this with overnight. A lot of curly, continuous chips. Let's try a final facing cut on this before we take that razor sharp edge. And let's just go 10 thousandths deep on this. Just for grins, I'm going to try a higher feed yet. It's up around 15 thousandths, higher RPM, and we'll do the same depth of cut. Just try to get a little bit more heat in that chip. I'm going to try one more cut on the OD just to see what happens at the higher feed. That did brighten up quite a bit. Well, that's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed me playing around with my grandpa's piece of steel, probably 1045, freshly renewed surface. I'm going to flip it over and continue this cut and do the other face, and then I guess my son can start beating on it again as an anvil, but it's pretty neat to see what that cleaned up like. Also have the brass tub drain adapter. This is lacquered. It's not a mirror finish, but it won't tarnish, and you're only going to see that little bit anyway. So we'll get this mounted up here hopefully this weekend, and on to other projects in Engineers Workshop now that I got a multi-chuck system that I can work with. I'm pretty happy with, hopefully 2023 is going to turn out to be pretty good. So thanks again for watching and subscribing. Keep watching the channel for more interesting projects in 2023. Till then, stay safe.